Welcome to News Briefs. Today, we're starting with some really, really impactful news. Devastating, actually.
Yeah, it's a particularly charged landscape we're looking at today. The news about Charlie Kirk. It's sent shockwaves, hasn't it?
Absolutely devastating. I mean,
Yeah.
Charlie Kirk, the conservative activist, co-founder of Turning Point USA, tragically killed yesterday. He was just 31.
Yeah, just 31. And it happened during a public event, right? At Utah Valley University.
That's right.
Yep.
Apparently quite a crowd there, too.
Reports say between 2,000 and 3,000 people. He was actually giving a speech.
And he was shot mid-speech.
Shot in the neck, yeah. Security got him out quickly, but, well, he died later at the hospital.
The absolute audacity in front of that many people is just chilling. Do we know how the attack was carried out? Any details?
Well, the official information indicates the shot came from a rooftop, the nearby Lucy Center.
A rooftop. How far away?
About 150 to 200 meters, so quite a distance. They used what's described as a high-powered bolt-action rifle.
Wow. That suggests, well, a lot of planning.
Yeah.
Premeditation?
Exactly. Highly targeted. Seems like a professional operation, given the distance and weapon.
So what's the latest on the investigation? Who's leading it?
The FBI is heading it up, working with the Utah Department of Public Safety. But, crucially, the shooter is still at large.
Still at large?
Yeah.
But they found the weapon.
Yes, they recovered the rifle. And they say they have good video of the suspect. They've actually released some images, asking the public for help.
And there's a reward, I heard. A big one.
Yeah, the FBI is offering $500,000, $500,000. And it's important to note, someone they initially detained as a person of interest, they've been released.
Okay, so the search is definitely still on.
It is. And the authorities, they're being very clear. They're calling it premeditated, a political assassination. Directly.
That framing political assassination.
Yeah.
That must have sparked a huge reaction across the board.
Oh, absolutely. You're seeing, well, widespread condemnation, really, from all sides, both parties.
Mm-hmm.
President Trump paid tribute, ordered flags at half-mast until Sunday, and he was quite harsh. He pointed to what he called leftist rhetoric, called it a dark moment, talked about the demonization of the adversary.
And Turning Point USA, Kirk's own organization.
Kirk's statement was very strong, described him as America's greatest martyr for freedom of expression. So clearly the feeling is profound loss and a sense this was an attack on free speech itself.
We're seeing gestures of solidarity too, right? Like with the vice president.
Yes, Jay Vance. He accompanied Kirk's body on Air Force Two back to Phoenix, and he plans to visit the family today in Orem, Utah.
Important gestures.
Definitely. Vigils were held too, one at the Utah Capitol last night, and you had figures from everywhere condemning it. Joe Biden, Obama, George W. Bush, Bill Clinton, Speaker Mike Johnson, Democratic leaders Schumer and Jeffries, all repudiating the violence.
Across the spectrum.
Yeah. And Utah's governor, Spencer Cox, promised they'd find the person responsible. He even mentioned that Utah has the death penalty.
It's such a tragedy. And as you said, it feels like it fits into this broader pattern recently, this complicated context of political violence.
It's a really concerning trend, isn't it? Sources are pointing to several incidents just recently. Remember the fire at the Pennsylvania governor's house back in April?
Right.
And the assassination of Israeli embassy staff in D.C. in May. Then there was that attack with a homemade flamethrower at a pro-Israel march.
Mm-hmm.
The killing of a Democratic legislator in Minnesota in June. And even closer, August, the shooting at the CDC headquarters. The attacker was apparently critical of COVID policies.
And of course, the assassination attempt against Trump himself during the last campaign, it really feels like an escalation.
It does. And there was an analyst, Carlos Curbelo, who made an interesting point about this.
Oh, yeah. What did he say?
Something like, where we used to have political adversaries, now we seem to have political enemies. And he really stressed the responsibility leaders have, to calm things down, to set an example.
A reflection on polarization.
Exactly. So necessary right now. Kirk was, as you said, only 31, founded Turning Point at 18. A huge figure in the MAGA movement, had his podcast, married, 2 kids, just a life cut short. It really underscores the human cost of all this animosity.
A very stark reminder. And sadly, it's not the only shooting we have to report today. Another one in Denver.
That's right, at Evergreen High School. The information is that a student shot 2 classmates and then tragically committed suicide.
Oh, awful. How are the injured students?
One is in critical condition, unfortunately. The other is recovering. Police got there but didn't have to use their weapons. The school's closed, obviously, while they investigate and, well, talk to the kids who witnessed it all.
Just heartbreaking. Especially today, September 11th, such a sensitive date.
Exactly. 24 years since the 2001 attacks, New York, the Pentagon, Pennsylvania, nearly 3,000 lives lost. It's a date we just don't forget.
And ceremonies are happening today, I assume.
Of course, especially at Ground Zero in New York. Security's tight, understandably, given recent events. Vice President Vance is expected, local politicians too. It's a day of remembrance.
For all the victims. I know there were many Latinos among them, too.
Yes, estimates are close to 200 Latinos died that day. And this year, there's something new, something quite somber at the Firefighters Memorial.
Oh, really? What's that?
They've added the names of almost 300 more firefighters. These are men and women who died, in the years since from illnesses they got from being exposed to all the toxins at Ground Zero.
Wow. That's incredibly powerful. The after effects just keep appearing, even now.
Exactly. It shows the long tail of that tragedy. And tonight, they'll light up the tribute in light again. Those two beams remembering the Twin Towers.
Okay, let's shift focus for a moment. Across the Atlantic, Germany had elections.
Yes, federal elections. And the results are definitely causing a stir. The Conservative Alliance, the CDU, Merkel's old party, they came in first. By about 28.5%, roughly 208 seats.
And what does that mean for the current government, the traffic light coalition?
Well, it pretty much means the end of it. That coalition, the Social Democrats, the Greens, and the Liberals, the FDP, it's breaking up. The FDP, the Liberals, are heading straight for the opposition.
So a clear desire for change.
Seems that way.
Yeah.
And now, well, probably long negotiations to form a government. That kind of uncertainty in Germany, which is Europe's biggest economy, could easily affect EU politics, too.
Right. Ripple effects. And speaking of the EU, the European Parliament was busy this week, too.
Yes. They had their plenary session wrapping up today. Discussed quite a few things. Internet governance was one. But significantly, they focused on Moldova's resistance.
Resistance to what exactly?
Against what they called hybrid threats and Russia's malign interference.
Hybrid threats. What does that typically involve? We hear that term a lot.
Yeah, it's not just military stuff. It's things like cyber attacks, disinformation campaigns, economic pressure, using energy as a weapon, basically trying to destabilize a country from within without a full-on invasion. And it's a constant worry for countries near Russia.
So the Russia issue is still very much front and center in Brussels.
Absolutely. It's a constant. And those geopolitical tensions, they're exactly what the IMF keeps flagging as a major risk for the global economy.
Okay, let's talk about that economic picture then. How does the IMF see things overall right now?
Well, their latest reports from January and July this year, they're projecting pretty moderate global growth, somewhere between 3.1% and 3.3% for 2025 and 2026. They use this interesting phrase, tenuous resilience.
Tenuous resilience. Sounds fragile.
Yeah.
What does that really mean for, people and businesses?
It means the world economy kind of absorbed some hits better than expected. That's the resilience. But that strength is shaky, vulnerable to new problems. That's the tenuous part. And what you really need to grasp is they're pointing to diverging paths.
Diverging paths, so uneven growth.
Exactly that. The U.S. economy actually did better than expected. But other big economies, their forecasts got revised downwards. So yeah, very uneven growth around the world. And the risks we mentioned, still very much there. Geopolitical tensions, potential trade tariffs coming back, just a lot of general uncertainty still. No guarantees of stability.
Understood. Okay, switching gears slightly. How's the crypto world looking amidst all this? What's happening there in September?
Well, it's still really dominated by the big names. Bitcoin, BTC is still king. It's hovering around $110,900 or so. The market cap is just massive, $2.2 trillion, which is the equivalent of the long-scale billion used in Spanish.
Wow. That's a huge amount of value. And Ethereum.
Ethereum, ETH is the clear number two, close to $4,300. Its market cap is also enormous, over $500 billion.
Any other key players to watch?
Well, Solana, SOL, is still important. Often gets picked over ADA because its network is faster. It's around $200. And Ripple, XRP, which is, more centralized but useful for cheap international transfers, that's near $2.88. But what's interesting is, all the talk about central bank digital currencies.
Yeah.
None from a G7 country has really gained traction in the actual market yet. For now, it's still the decentralized coins that rule.
That is interesting. Decentralized, still dominant. Okay, let's pivot from digital finance to some really concrete physical advancements. Health and science. There was mention of a trachea transplant. With a clarification.
Yes, exactly. So a 3D trachea transplant in Singapore was mentioned this September, but it seems the first successful one of this kind was actually done in South Korea back in 2023 at Seoul St. Mary's Hospital. Good to get that right.
Okay, thanks for clarifying. It still sounds like something from the future. How does this technique actually work?
It's pretty incredible, honestly. They take the patient's own stem cells and they grow them on this structure, a 3D printed scaffold.
A scaffold, like a support.
Right. Made of a special polymer, PCL. It's biocompatible, and it's designed to dissolve in the body over about 5 years. And while it's there, the patient's own tissue regenerates the trachea around it.
Wow. And using their own cells. That must avoid rejection issues.
Exactly. That's the huge advantage. No rejection means the patient doesn't need those powerful immunosuppressant drugs, the ones usually needed for transplants, which have all sorts of side effects. It's a massive step for regenerative medicine. Truly avoids that lifelong medication need.
Yeah, incredibly promising. Same with health. Any updates on Alzheimer's research?
Well, no final phase 3 results dropped this month, as maybe some expected. But back in July, Roche did announce how they'll run their big phase 3 studies. They're called trontinemab 1 and 2, testing a new drug.
Trontinemab, okay. And what stage of Alzheimer's does it target?
It's aimed at the early stages. It's an antibody, and the idea is it clears out those beta amyloid protein plaques in the brain, the ones thought to be key drivers of the disease.
Right. And do we know if it works? Any early signs?
The earlier phase results looked good, yeah. They showed it reduced those plaques quickly and significantly. Quite a few participants actually got their plaque levels down below the threshold usually associated with the disease.
That sounds really positive. But doesn't early diagnosis remain a huge challenge? Finding people early enough for these treatments.
You've hit the nail on the head. And that's where another big advance might have a more immediate impact. There's new data out on a blood test, Elxis PAU-217. It measures a specific protein in the blood, phosphorylated TAU.
Okay, a blood test. What's so special about this one?
What's groundbreaking is that it seems to be just as accurate at detecting that amyloid pathology in the brain as PET scans are, those really expensive, complicated brain scans.
Whoa, okay. That is a potential game changer. A simple blood test. That would make diagnosis so much easier, cheaper, and help find people for trials like the trontinemab one much faster.
Exactly. It could streamline everything. In fact, Roche isn't just looking at trontinemab as a treatment. They also want to see if it can prevent deterioration in people who have the plaques but don't have clear symptoms yet. Kind of a preventative approach.
Very interesting. So much progress. Okay, let's switch to cutting-edge tech. Quantum computing and AI. What's the buzz there? Seems like things are moving fast.
Ugh, it's a whirlwind. Yeah, there's no single huge headline maybe, but lots of smaller advances adding up. The big challenge fundamentally is still that qubits, the quantum units, are just really unstable, fragile, they make errors.
Right. So how are they trying to fix that? The error problem.
Well, a lot of the work is focused on what they call logical qubits. Basically, you use several physical qubits together, kind of entangled, to create one stronger, more reliable qubit that makes fewer mistakes. Microsoft and atom computing, for instance, they recently managed to entangle 24 of these logical qubits. That's a real step forward.
Okay, so making better qubits out of existing ones. What about improving the physical qubits themselves?
That's happening too. Researchers are hunting for new materials to make them more stable from the get-go. Like in Sweden, at Chalmers University, they're testing a new magnetic quantum material. And the big companies like IBM keep rolling out new machines, like their Nighthawk computer.
And AI's role in all this, how does it fit in?
AI is proving really crucial for speeding up quantum research itself. It's kind of a two-way street. On one hand, you have new hardware, like an AI chip from Shanghai that actually uses light instead of electricity. But the wilder part is how AI is being used to, guide the experiments.
AI guiding experiments, how does that work?
Yeah, there are AI systems helping design new types of qubits, like ones made from proteins, or helping find promising new quantum materials much faster than humans could. It's like they're helping each other, you know? AI accelerates quantum now, and the hope is quantum will supercharge AI later.
A real cycle of innovation. Seems revolutionary. Any big problems looming?
The main one people keep mentioning is a lack of people. There's huge demand for quantum experts, scientists, engineers, but not enough trained professionals to fill the jobs. It's becoming a bottleneck.
Huh. A skills gap. Okay, well, from the quantum realm, let's look outwards to space. Artemis 6 was mentioned, but maybe some confusion there.
Yeah, that seems to be a mix-up. There's nothing official about Artemis 6 launching this September. NASA's Artemis program getting humans back to the moon. It's definitely moving forward, but it's step by step.
Okay, so what's the real timeline looking like then?
All right, so Artemis 2, that's the first one with a crew that will just orbit the moon. That's penciled in for April 2026 at the earliest. And Artemis 3, the actual landing mission with astronauts stepping onto the moon, we're looking at mid-2027, probably not before.
Okay, so still a little while before we see footprints up there again.
Yeah, still a ways off. The missions after that, Artemis 4 and 5, they'll carry more people and parts for the Lunar Gateway space station. Those are tentatively slated for 2028 and 2030. What is happening soon, though, this October, is NASA's planning to show off the actual rocket and spacecraft for Artemis 2, to demonstrate the progress.
Got it. Very clear. It's a marathon, not a sprint. Okay, back down to Earth. Sports.
Yes. All the attention in athletics is on Tokyo right now, the 2025 World Championships. And the big draw, as always, is the 100 meters.
Any favorites we should be watching?
For the men, keep an eye on Jamaica's Keishane Thompson. He ran a blistering 9.75 seconds this year. And for the women, the American Melissa Jefferson Wooden is undefeated. She's the top candidate. And a legend will be there too, right?
Usain Bolt has to be. Always had some star power.
Exactly. He's a special guest. Always great to have him there.
And finally, just a couple of quick notes on music and entertainment.
Yeah, two small things. An album came out this year called Vortex of Echoes by an artist named Kelladin. And just yesterday, September 10th, the radio show Ecos was playing tracks from Suzanne Vega's latest album, Angel.
Okay. From, well, profound political shocks and amazing science to the pulse of sports and music. It really shows a world that's constantly shifting, doesn't it?
It really does.
What kind of stands out to me from all this is that theme of resilience we touched on. Whether it's the economy's tenuous kind, or the body regenerating tissue, or just remembering past tragedies. It makes you think, doesn't it?
Yeah.
How do we, all of us, you listening included, how do we help strengthen that resilience when challenges seem to be coming from all directions?
Yeah, definitely something to think about.
Something to mull over until next time.